Hello, YouTubers. This is a special session where my friend Mahdi and I will, talk a little bit about some of the most interesting components when it comes to developing software according to the standard. We talked a lot about the engineering standard. Most of the software that we build out there is based on the engineering standard, where it breaks any component or any system into brokers, integration, and then services, and then there's exposers, which can be controllers or UI or whatever the case may be. And we talked a lot about foundation services. Like throughout all the videos that are out there, you'll see me talking a lot about foundation services. But foundation services are not the only type of services that you can rely on when you're building an enterprise larger system. It doesn't matter what the system size is. At some point in time, you will need what we call a higher order business logic. And this higher order business logic basically allows you to do a little bit more than just CRUD operations on top of what your primitive functions are offering you through your foundation services. And as usual, I'm joined today by one of the people I really love and admire, my
Thank you,
dear
Sam.
friend and my brother, my younger brother, Mahdi.
Okay.
Hi, Mahdi. How
Hello,
are you doing?
I'm fine. Hello, everyone.
Yay.
Uh, I was working. I was trying to do something different. I tried to work with an external API, and my plan was to review and look around the standard and create something myself. And the main goal is we localize an external resource, external API we want to work with, and add more some functionality to that. And we have our own models and own we create our own behavior for this
Nice.
API.
Nice. So there's an
And
API out there. Is that what you're saying? You're saying there's an API out there that offers some data. Let's visualize this. I'm going to visualize this with you. What do you think about that, Matt? Is that okay if I visualize
yeah,
this?
sure.
Let's just explain to people what we're doing here. So here's a visualization. So what you're saying is that there's an existing API out there, right? And this API has some corona, this is external API, and this API has some coronavirus information about, the countries that, have this
All
disease
around the world,
and
yes.
all around the world and the death rates and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And you want to be able to offer a system, you want to build an API, so you need a broker that talks to this guy. And this broker here, so this is an API broker that will take that data and save it in a local storage to that service that you have. So we need a storage broker in here. And this storage broker will basically allow you to, so this is your storage broker. And this storage broker, of course, there will be a bunch of services sitting in there. And what you're basically doing is that you're adding a bunch of services here and here. So let's say there's a foundation service here. This is a service, and this is a service. And then on top of these services, you want to add in processing services up here. So this is the next layer, right? So this is
Yes.
processing service, and this is another processing service. And then what you need is basically an orchestration, oh, not this one, orchestration service that basically combines these two together so you can take data from the API and then persist data into your local storage. So this here will be an orchestration. So it seems like if we're working on this problem and this system that you're building, we're going to have to run into orchestration services and we're going to have to show the world how to build orchestration services. What
Yeah,
do you think
for
about that?
sure.
I
For
like
sure.
that. That's a good deal. Okay. So let's just understand here. So this guy, this system here, let me minimize these guys so we can just have the space here. So this guy here gives you data and you're pulling that data here, right? So maybe this is external country service, right? And this is external
Exactly.
country.
Broken.
So the country has just the stats in it, basically. And in here you have external country processing service, and then you map this into something called country orchestration. So that's a local model that you have. So you have in here country processing service, and you have in here country service, and you have in here country storage broker. Is that what you're doing? Does that?
Exactly. It's what I did so far.
And I've been looking at your repository, and I think all of these here are done, right?
Yes, these are done.
So, so the only one that's left here is that you need a country processing service. So what is
Yeah.
this country? What's so okay, so a country service has add country, right? And it has modify country,
Retrieve all
and it has retrieve, retrieve all countries, right? What
and
are
select
you?
by ID.
Okay, so we need also retrieve country by ID, right? So let me expand on this guy a little bit, just to show the functionalities and capabilities. So in here you have retrieve country by ID. Okay, so you have all of these. What are
Yeah,
you trying to do here? Aren't these functions enough for you? What's left in here to do?
just delete, but we don't need it
Okay, so you have delete in here, but why do you need a processing service for if you have all these operations?
because they are external resource. It's
Mm,
just have one single method, one get all,
okay.
and we want to get all the data and then work with our data and whatever we want, like manage it.
Mm-hmm. So
It
your
was in my
processing.
mind.
So what function do you want to implement in your processing service that your foundation service doesn't offer today?
Oh, my foundation service, it's not now mapping the external to the internal. I just
Right.
want,
So your orchestration service will take the external country and map it to a local country, right?
yeah.
And then you're gonna take that country and then you're gonna pass it to processing service. What's the processing service here gonna do?
He will get our local model and map the external model to
Hmm.
our local model fields. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so you're basically passing it in here, and this guy will do something like an upsert. Upsert
Exactly.
country async. So you basically want to use multiple primitive level foundation service level functions that will give you the ability to introduce a higher order business logic. Is that what you're trying to do? So that basically means if we go and visualize this a little bit, an upsert would basically do these things. So if, let's say this is upsert country async, and it's taken in a local country model in here. So let's go here and say this is country, like this. So let's say this is your function here. Okay. And your function here is basically calling bunch of functions within the foundation service, right? So I'm assuming it's gonna go and try to call the
Add
re
first.
no, it retrieve all countries first, right? Because you want to know if it exists or not to determine whether to add it or update it, right? Because if you add it and it's already there, it's going to blow up, right?
Yeah.
And then based on the decision, you either determine whether to call add add country async, right? Or you call
Modify.
modify country async. And just for the people watching us, the upsert country async as a higher order business logic in a country is is very common thing. You'll see ensure country exists, verify country is valid, or something like upsert country async. An upsert country async mainly focuses on, making sure that whatever you pass down there is being handled. See how the responsibility here is broken down. Like when I say the rule here is that every class should either do the work or delegate the work, but not both. In here, it's all delegation. Like in here, all that this guy is doing is just taking that country and delegating and
This.
making a lower level orchestration. So the processing services basically orchestrate between primitive level functions. And that's basically what's happening here. So you and I are going to implement upsert country async in here.
Uh-huh.
We're going to retrieve all countries, add country async. So our happy path is going to be two happy paths actually. There's the one where the country doesn't exist, so you call add. And then there's one when the country exists, so we
We
call
call modify.
modify. Okay, let's get started. Do you want to spin up your screen? Let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's start with a
Okay.
failing test at least, and then see how far we can go.
Okay. I will share my screen right now.
Okay. Here is your screen.
Yes.
Oh my
Okay.
Lord. Dude, it's like every day you have your own theme.
And this one is actually so
It
much
looks like
nice.
VS Code.
Yeah.
I like
And
it. I like it.
okay, let me to create a branch and what I
Uh-huh.
have to call it.
Processing. So, users slash Mahdi slash processings.
Okay.
Well, let's go to master first, or main. Mm-hmm.
Let me fetch. Okay. There is some.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Users. Okay, processing and
Mm-hmm.
country and
Uh-huh.
upsert.
Oh, so yeah, so it's just processing and then country and then dash upsert, exactly like that. So the category and then the entity and then the action, exactly. Hmm.
Now under the services, we have to create a new
Yeah,
folder.
that's right. That's right. Processings.
Uh,
Processings.
Processing.
Yep, yep, yep. Because it's a plural, it's a namespace, right? So you want to make sure that
Okay, and we will have another folder like country
no,
or
it's
no.
just processings. Oh, and then yeah, you're right. Under that you need countries. Countries. RIES. RIES. Perfect. Hmm.
And now what I have to write the class name.
Hmm.
It will be uh, country processing or
Yeah, it would be country processing service. So let's start with the interface. Always let's start with the interface.
icon country
Processing service. Hmm.
processing service like this. Country processing service.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just a second.
Hmm.
Now what we will have?
So now what are we gonna have? We're gonna have value task, country, and then upsert country async. Hmm. Yep. Upsert country async.
And it will take a country and the
That's it.
parameter.
Just a country. Yep. So it takes a country, returns a country, stairs pure as a contract. Uh-huh.
Okay. And the another method, do we need or no?
Nope. That's
That's
all
it.
you need. Yep. Now let's
Okay.
build the,
Class for that.
yep, let's build the class.
Country
Uh-huh.
processing service. Inherit from country processing service and okay.
Yep. So now what do we need? We need dependencies. What do you need as dependencies? We need the I country service and the I logging broker. That's all, right? Look how smart this thing is. It knows. So not the
900.
country processing, country service. Yeah. Hmm.
What's happening?
You
Okay.
implemented all the CRUD operations, everything.
Now, just let me misclick.
Okay, and we need the logging broke.
I log in.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Should I pass it
Okay.
in the constructor or inject it?
So of course, but there's a nice trick that you can do that can make it write all that code for you. So remove that constructor and just remove that constructor and just select those read-only dependencies and just do control period and
Okay.
then enter. Done. Put every one of these dependencies on a new line. So the I logging on a new line and the I country on a new line. And then let's move on from there.
Okay.
Bro, the input parameters, put each one of them on its own line. So people don't have to scroll back and forth to read your code.
You mean,
And then take the other one also to the next line. That's it.
okay.
Done. Why is this important? This is actually, for the longest of time, I used to say that's convenience, right? But go ahead and zoom to 200, sorry, zoom to 400%. 400.
A maximum is I can get is 345.
Okay. What do you think? This is big, right?
Yes, it's
Some
huge.
people who are legally blind, they can't see unless it's that size. And I've seen and I worked with people that are like that. Okay? So if you scroll down a little bit, scroll down just a tiny bit, look at your code. At least at this point, it's readable. Even though you can't read everything, they can tell. Now imagine if your code is, stretched out. That's just a pain for them. Let's zoom out a little bit to 300, not 200, 300. See, it's still kind of readable, right? Even
Yeah.
though you're not doing a lot of scrolling. So let's just make sure that our code is accessible. It considers all the people from all different walks of life. Okay, man? Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, so that's the guy, right? So here's what we need to do here, Mahdi. We need to write a test that basically goes and says, we need to retrieve all the services from the database, and then we need to verify that the service that sorry, all the countries, and we need to verify that the country we're trying to persist is not in the system, and then we need to go and call the add. Okay?
And it will be in three different tests or one single
All of
test.
this is just one test. We're gonna have two tests because there are only two cases. There's the case where the country exists, so we need to call modify, and there's a case when the country does not exist, so we need to call add. Okay?
Okay.
Submit this code that you just wrote, and I'm gonna show you how to do this really fast. Like
Okay.
we have like 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do it in 15 minutes. Do you think I can write a test in 15 minutes? What do you think? Do you think
Possible.
that's do you think
I
that's a
think
possibility?
I think so because you know what you will do.
Okay.
Okay. And processing
Yeah.
Upsert country.
Yeah. So you don't have to write a test or anything, just give it to me. So it's Corona Core, right? Corona Tracker Core, right? That's the guy?
Yes, it is, and
Mm.
it should be there.
Okay. I'm gonna go and take your repository here and clone. You know you're a good guy, right?
How?
Did you see our Three Amigos session with Stanislav and Parker this morning? It was pretty cool
I,
actually.
I just start watching, then our session has been started because I think you uploaded like 1 hours ago. Just
Nope. Nope, it's been out there for a while, but the session was 2 hours. It's two
Uh-huh.
hour session. And the other thing is that 2 hour session on StreamYard, meaning that the session weighed 4 gigs. 4 gigs. What does that mean? It means that it takes YouTube, even though my upload speed is pretty crazy, it took Google a little bit of while to process it. Does that make sense? Okay, my
For
friend. Can you see my screen now?
yes, I can. You have to
Okay,
change your theme.
my theme.
Yeah, your
Okay,
theme.
my theme. Okay, so let's see. If I type Upsert here, does that mean I can find your branch? You damn right I can. Okay. I love open source. And Microsoft just created the perfect ecosystem for engineers to build
Yeah,
software. It's all connected. Like from here, you haven't played with the cloud yet. I can't wait to show you that. But anyway, let's run real quick through this one and see what we have. So you have services, you have all of that, you have unit tests, you have services, and I'm gonna create foundation in here. Look
processing.
at processings, right? And then under processing, I'm gonna create country. See, here's the funny thing. I've never touched this repository before, right?
Yeah.
But because both of you are following the same standard, what happens? Anybody can help you.
Hmm.
Anybody around the world can help you. How crazy is that? That's pretty cool, right?
That's why the standard is a nice thing, I
Yeah,
think.
processing service test. I think it's nice. It's
It's
nice.
hard to start, but when you start it, you will be just addicted to.
Yep, that's what my friend Kailu said the other day. You're right. Okay, my friend, let's go and do this. Private read-only mock, right? So that's a mocky mock. And let's go ahead and say I country service like this. And this I country service will do what? It will go and say country service mock, right? And then I also want read-only mock again. And I want what? I logging broker because I want to add a logging broker in here. Does that make sense? So it's this guy,
Yeah.
logging broker. So it's logging broker mocky mock. And then let's go down here and let's put a bunch of really fun stuff in here. Let's zoom in a little bit so people can see what we're doing. This is country service mock, and then this here is logging broker mock, and then I can go here and say, I can go and say in here private read only I country processing service. That's my country processing service here, country processing service. Great. And then I can go here and say this dot country processing service equal new country processing service. Pass in here the country service, this dot country service dot object, and then also logging broker, logging broker. Let's go here, logging broker, this dot logging broker mock object. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is all good. Now, what do we need, my friend? We need a list of countries, right? This is the easy one. The add one is the easy one. We can go here and say private static filler, right? And then I want to go here and say country. And I want to go and say country filler. Create country filler. Excuse me. So that's the country filler. Does your country object has a date time offset in it?
Yes, created data and updated data are datetime offset.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So you have the right stuff. You're doing the right stuff. Okay, so untype date time offset. Here it is. And then I can go here and say use, right, get random date time offset. Good. And then I can now go back here and say return filler. And then in here I can go and say private static date time offset get random date time offset. Quick and easy, easy peasy, no problem here. And then new date time range, and then earliest date is the beginning of time. And then I can go and say get value. So far, so good, right? Now, I want to create two things. I want to create a random country as an input parameter, but I also want to create a list of countries or an iQueryable of countries, right? So let's do that. So private static. Let's start from the beginning. So country, create random country. Great. Let's go here, create country filler, and that's a create. Perfect. So I created a country, and then let's go here and say static iQueryable of countries. That's a country. And here is create random countries. Right, my friend? And
Yeah,
then
right.
here I can go here and say create country filler. Oh, we need a function in here. What do you think the function that we need is? Private static.
Yeah, int range.
Yeah, get random number,
Okay.
right? New int range. And this is min 2 max 10,
10.
right? Get value. Is that what you're talking about? And then I can go
Yeah.
here and say create, right? Count,
Count.
get random number. Here it is. And then I can go here and say dot to as queryable.
That's cool.
Okay, so that fixes the second one. Okay, now we need to write a test. Oh my God, I've taken a whole 5 minutes to do all of this. Okay, now let's go and write another class in here. And this class, my friend, will be the logical one, right? So let's go here and do logic like this. Is this guy partialized? Yes. Good job, Hassan. Hassan does good stuff. Let's go down here and then let's go and do all of this. And let's zoom in again. Let's write a test. Now bear with me. We need two tests. Two tests. The first one here is the one that we can make pass real quick and really easy. I can go here and say fact. And I can go here and say public async task should add country if not exist. Async. Cool. That's the first one. See the language now, it's a higher order business logic. So the language is starting to change, right? It's not your usual, oh, let's go move data around. Things are a little bit different now. Okay, let's go here and say, here's a country. Excuse me. And then this is random country, create random country. That's one. And then there's country again. And then what am I doing? Input country, right? And then
Yeah.
in here, I'm going to go and say, this is my random country. And then once again, I'm going to go here and say expected country, right? And that's coming from the input country. Now, what are we going to do here? I need to go here and say, give me an iQueryable, which is random countries that are coming from the database. Random countries. So this is create random countries. And then another iQueryable in here, country. And that's called storage, or let's say retrieved, because we don't know if it's from storage or from a database. Retrieved countries. At this point, you're too far away from the broker, so you don't know whether your stuff is coming from the database or not. Okay?
Okay.
So now I can go here and say this is random countries, and now let's go and set up some stuff. What do you think about that? Do you want to set up some stuff with me? So I can
There's
go here and say set up, right? And then I can go and say service dot retrieve all countries. And this guy will return retrieved countries. Easy, right? This one here, however, though, is country service again. See, the same one is being called, right? But this time I'm going and saying service dot insert, or add rather, add country async, and it's taking your input country. So this way we're calling input country, and we are returns async. Did I do persisted? No, I didn't. Okay, here we go. Country, added country, right? This guy is coming from input country.
and do we need a deep clone here or no?
Yes, we do. Of course we do. How do you know it's not modified? Right? Okay, so here we go. Perfect. And then this is your added country. So that's the action that happened on that country. Now all I gotta do is just go here and say country, actual country. So that's actually what came back. And I'm saying here this dot service, that's your processing service, upsert country is sync. And I can take that guy, let's do it this way. Let's take that guy up here. And let's break from the dot like this. And let's pass in here your input country. Okay. What do I want to do now? I want to go here and say this guy the actual country should be equivalent to expected country. Here we go. That's one. What else? I want to go here and say this dot mock the country mock country service mock verify service service dot retrieve all countries has happened one time once. Okay, and then the second thing here is that I want to go and say that that
Add.
the country service mock verify, right? And this is my service. I want to go and say service.add country async, and this guy will take the input country, and it has been called also one time, right? And then the last thing here is I want to go here and say country service mock verify no other calls. And this in here also, we want to call the login broker and say verify no other calls. See that test here? So what is this test saying? Saying we're going to retrieve some countries, right? We're going to retrieve some countries. Since we're doing the retrieve first, let's push that guy up here because that order is really important, just so you understand.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to retrieve some countries. We're going to create a bunch of random countries. If the country doesn't exist, we're going to go and call the return async and all that. Okay? And then I'm going to give you a little something to think about at the end of this session, which should be very soon. So let's do this. Control, I think I was talking to Parker yesterday and said Control RA might do that stuff for you. Yeah, Control RA. Let's see. Hmm. Gosh. Okay. Did it fail? Did it pass?
It's supposed to fail
It's supposed to fail. If it doesn't
because
fail, we'll be very sad, right? And why
not
do I need to?
implemented.
Yeah, there you go. So this guy is throwing these kind of exceptions. Oh, it's running everything. Okay, anyway, should add country if not exist. So this the method or operation is not implemented. So that means you need to implement it, my friend. That's a fail. And my advice to you, trying to make this pass, only do what makes the test pass.
Happy
That's
path.
just only what makes the test pass, whether it makes sense in the long run or not. Your turn.
Okay.
This is me serving it back to you. The ping pong.
Okay. Let me fetch.
Okay, let's go to town. Make it rain. Huh.
Okay. Let me run tests.
Mm,
Sharing my screen.
okay, that'd be nice. There you go.
Okay. Struggling,
Mm.
but it's here.
Yeah, just run all the tests and pick up the failing one.
Yeah, it's failed.
It's failed. Now, how do we make it pass?
Okay.
Remember, only do what makes the test pass, whether it might be right or wrong. Go for it.
Mm. In the test, first we call the retrieve all.
Mm.
Then let's go for the retrieve all. We
Sounds
call
good.
this.
Let's do it. Let's do retrieval. Sounds good. Mm.
um, But yeah. Okay. I, I should I create a iQueryable variable here or not needed? Just call the service. I have no idea, honestly.
Just
Country
just call the
serve.
service. Let's see.
Okay. Now we
And
have
then
all
what's the
all
second thing that the test wants from you?
okay. Then in the test we say we call the retrieval
Mm.
and then if it should be verified, then we call the add.
Yeah, let's call the add then. Mm-hmm. Perfect. And this method wants you to return the country, right? So if you do return, it'll just work, right? Return
Hopefully.
return await. Yeah. Make sure you add async up there. Mm. And then a new line between return and the above. Yep. Now run your test. See what happens. Mm. It
Okay,
passed,
it's passed. Interesting.
right?
But it's
So
not making any sense.
it's not making any sense, right? Because the test itself, there's another test that completes the flow. And these tests are kind of intertwined, even though they test two different cases. Now, something for you to think about before we wrap up the session. Um, how do you make the test ensure that the retrieve all countries has been called first before the add country? How do you make the test ensure that the first call happened? Because right now, if you save add country in a variable, and then after you made the add, you call retrieve all, and then you return that variable, your test will still pass. How
Uh-huh.
do you ensure that these dependencies are called in that exact order that you just put out there? That's something for you to think about, and let's connect, tomorrow and see how we can drive this.
Yeah,
And
you mean I have to
mm,
kind of force the order in the
yeah,
test.
in the test have to verify, and there is that capability there that can tell you whether that's just the beginning, because the second test will already do that trick for you and you won't need that order anymore. But I want you to get the best out of this, right? So anyway, something for you to think about, something for everyone here on the channel to think about. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. Maddie and I will see you again tomorrow,
See
and
you
we'll
guys.
continue our processing service session. Sorry for the short time. I have to jump on another one, but don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's
I'll
right.
see you guys later. See you,
See you
Maddie.
guys. Bye.
See you guys.